on the flow. If he ain't, let me know. Let me see if you can run it, run it. Is your man on the flow? Yeah, man. Ah, let me see if you can run it, run it. Okay, I believe we're live. Good evening. Ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò yìí o. Make I tell you my story o. Come on. Ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò yìí o. Time to tell you my story o. Okay, let's just wait for people to join. Jira, you're my provider. Yeah, you're my provider. Jira, you're my provider. You're my provider. You are Jira, you're my provider. You're my provider. Jira, you're my provider. You're my provider. Good evening, guys. Welcome to this live stream. We're just going to wait for everybody to join, and I'm going to be entertaining you with some music in true Mo style. How's everybody doing? The laptop is there, so I'm looking down over here. But rest assured, I'm looking over here as well and doing my best to communicate with you guys. But yes, today's this week's episode rather is a live stream. And I do enjoy these lives, but also transparency reasons as well. Sometimes we are not able to keep up with the schedule of things. So my thing is I never want to just leave you guys hanging. So anytime things like that happen, do a live stream, like literally just come communicate. And of course, as we begin to grow, we continue to do these lives. So I really enjoyed the last one, and I enjoy chilling with you guys in the evenings or whenever it is that we do these lives. Good evening, Semi. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining. I'm doing well. I'm tired. It's been a bit of a long week, but I'm okay. Like energy wise, I'm surprisingly doing okay. I hope you are as well. How's work? If you went to work, how's school? If you went to school, how are you? Let me know in the comments or in the chats. Okay, we're gonna wait maybe another like 5 minutes or so, and then we're gonna get started. As you can see, I'm very, very casual tonight. Got my bonnet on, t-shirt on, and I'm just going to have a nice cozy chat with you guys about love, Valentine's, relationships. Obviously, it's the season of love, February, the month of love. And all the topics this month on the show is actually going to be surrounding love, sex, relationships. So thought why not kickstart this with talking about Valentine's, all it comes with, and all that great stuff. So just gonna wait for more people to join, and then we're going to get started. How are you guys doing? I hope you're doing well. Let me know in the chat area how you're doing. You see me looking down that way. The chat is right there, and the camera is over there. And we're going to have some lovely, 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 lovely gist tonight. But yeah, Valentine, Valentine, Valentine is coming. Oh, Valentine, Valentine, Valentine is coming. Oh, Valentine. Just gonna give it a minute for both of us to join. Hi, Jade Sola. I was about to call you Jade, but no, that's wrong. It's Jade Sola. The name means something, so you better respect it. Oh, crew. Jadesola Onikos. Is it Onikosi? I hope you're doing well. Hello, husband. He's hyping this shirt like it's not his, but I'm gonna pretend like it's not anywhere. Yes, I got this from when I went to New York, NYC, New York City, baby. Oh, crew, get to know the swag. Got my swag on. I put my name in and they say, oh, what's up, what's up, what's up? Yeah, I'm getting money. Oh, hey, da 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 da. Da 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 da. Hey, I'm getting moolah. Oh. Okay, Jade Sola says it's yes it is. People call me Jade mostly, okay, but I love hearing my full name. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. I think there's two types of people in this world. There's the people that don't like people saying their real name or their full name, and there's the people that like people saying their full name. So I'm always very cautious and I always ask people what their preference is. Interestingly enough, yeah, when people call me my full name, that's not Mo or Mo Chunks, and we're not close. Like maybe they're not a friend or whatever. And I turn around and notice that they're not a close friend or family. I'm caught off guard because I'm like, where did you hear that from? Like, who told you my real name? And I love that kind of exclusivity of it in a sense of I love hearing my name and turning around and knowing before I turn around that that's a friend, a close friend or family, especially people that have been in my life like since forever. Whereas maybe people that I've met over the last 3 or 5 years will only know me as Mo. But if you know me from way, 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 way back, and of course, if you're my family, you will know my full name. So when I turn around, or before I turn around, I know that's my home skill and I'm really, really excited. So when I turn around and it's somebody that I'm not close to, I'm like, where did you hear that from? But I also know that some people are like the polar opposites of that in the sense of if you're not close with them, they don't want you shortening their name. They're like, don't call, if, for example, their name was, Mo, whatever my name is, they'd be like, don't call me Mo if we're not cool like that. But I'm the opposite. I prefer my close friends and family calling me my full name. It just feels a bit more special that way. I don't know. But you guys let me know what you like. Are you particular about your name? I know some people are very particular about nobody shortening their name full stop. Like they don't like it. Like don't do it. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. They don't like it. So I always try to ask, what do you prefer? How do you like being referred to? Because it's all about personal preference at the end of the day. Um, oh, you got yours in England. Nice, nice. I don't know if they have any like Ralph stores around here because this is exclusive, baby. Don't worry about how old it's looking. It's exclusive, baby. Okay. Okay, guys, let's get started. So, Valentine, Valentine is coming. Oh, Valentine. If you have a Valentine, signify by raising up your hands in the live chat section. By the way, guys, let me know if the lighting is okay. Let me know if the sound is okay. I'm using my newer mic today and I've opened the window because it's a bit hot. Just let me know if the sound and you're not hearing that shh, that annoying shh sometimes when you open the window and the outside sounds begin to come in. But yes, let me know if you have a Valentine in the chat section. What do you call this? Comment section, chat. Let me just call it the comment section because I'm used to calling it the comment section. Um, Tai Chi said, "Hello, welcome to tonight's live, and thank you so much for joining us." Tai Chi says, I only mind people shortening my name if they don't bother saying my name properly. Okay, I feel you, girl. There's some people that you might have the simplest name, but they're still doing just to say something that could be pronounced. What's the word? For example, a lot of Yoruba names are phonetic. They could literally sound it out phonetically. But then again, I understand because if it's not your culture, not your language, and you're seeing a name like that for the first time, it might be overwhelming. You're like, you're not sure how to pronounce it, but at least try the phonetics. You might get it right. But yeah, I understand that totally. Hello, Nanoe. Oh, one of my favorite people, one of my favorite creatives in the entire world. She is so amazing, guys. Like, I'm so privileged to know her and to have been connected with her in the little ways that I have been over the last few years. She's really, really great, guys. You should definitely check out her work. Story. She reminds me of like Nigeria, brings back so much nostalgia of, growing up. And I love when people embrace their culture and they just flow in it so beautifully. It's so amazing. Definitely check out Lana Ray's work. It's amazing. It's truly, truly amazing. Semi said, "Single to God changes my story." Amen. Like, of God has all of our stories in His hands, and when it's the right time, and if it's His will for you, I always tell people that because I think sometimes we always do this blanket when it's your time, but also according to God's will for your life. It will happen, girl. If it's written for you, it will happen. Without going into too much theology, because some people don't believe in predestination, but let's not go there. Let's not go there. That's just my brain sparking. It's really sparking. My brain's sparking for a moment. Jade Sola says, my funny story, I was in my mom's car one day and I saw Nigo, your husband, and I was trying to grab his attention and it was a whole ordeal. And eventually I did and said, hi, you're married to Mo. Babe, do you remember that? Do you know, he's told me a few of those stories. And I feel like I actually remember the one because he told me about one where somebody was in the car. It was in South. Was it in South? Oh, what's happening? Okay. The camera got tired for a moment. Are you okay? Are you all right? I'm all right. It's okay. Yeah, I think I actually remember that. So I don't know if it was South, but I don't know. I'm thinking South. Yeah, hey Lalo, I hope you're doing good. I hope you're feeling well. He was so nice. Yeah, my baby's nice. He's cute like that. And I think I do remember that story as well. But guys, yeah, let me know. Signify by raising your hands if you have a Valentine. You could be in a relationship, married. You could be single and seeing somebody. You could be in a situationship, and you guys, you still have plans. You know how it is in the streets. Trust me. And I was single for a long time. I was so single, eh? Ah, gosh. I had a vision board party on the 21st, and I was talking about this with some of the attendees, well, all of the attendees that were there at the time, and I was saying, man, my level of single was when your family members start being worried about you, like, should everything were okay, like, should you go to the mountain and pray for you? And to be honest, I wasn't that. I was only 24 at my peak singleness. But I don't know why it's just such a huge deal amongst like Nigerians, um, in terms of like relationships, marriage. I don't think there was necessarily pressure to get married. Of course, your friends and your family, they want you to get married, but I think it was like when you haven't had like a stable relationship, there was a bit of like, is everything okay? And like, growing up, I was very into my books. Um, did really well in school. So it was like, when you're going down that path of school, career, that kind of woman. So I think maybe there was a bit of worry that, have I spent too much time in my books and, on the things that I want to do, purpose wise, career wise, that I was kind of missing out on things relationally. And it did take me a while, even to like, I always had friends, but in terms of solidifying those friendships, um, definitely school got in the way of that. School even got in the way of my creativity at some point. I mean, it was an interesting time because school was the time where I met a lot of creatives and I learned a lot about creativity. But then I literally had to take time off to just finish school and finish it well because I really wanted to graduate with a first class. And yeah, it was like the same effects that school was having on my creativity was also like affecting me relationally. Um, so I wasn't the best like person socially. Um, yeah, so I had my family members worried for even me. I was worried for myself. At some point, I was like, "Whoa, forget about it. I'll be okay. It's all right." I told myself after at break number 5,600, I was like, you know what, it's fine. Like, let me just focus on God and my career. So trust me when I say if you're single, my heart is with you, or if you're single and desiring a relationship, my heart is with you because not everybody wants to be in a relationship. We always have to caveat that and make that point. That not everybody wants to be in a relationship, not everybody wants to get married. We always assume. But I empathize with some the desire to be in relationship or to be married, and it's seemingly not working out for you. Because it's an interesting one because like I was single and in all my single years, um, however, I was like dating, seeing people, having crushes. People were crushing on me, but there was just, when could just be to serious bang until my husband, of course. Um, but yeah, yeah, it just felt like it wasn't for me. You know, when you get to that stage where things are just not working out, so you're just like, "Ah, maybe this thing is not for me." If you're Yoruba, you know of this phrase where they said, what you may call it, in Yoruba people, woman to pay, oh, lori oko. Ah, that thing is painful. Gosh, that thing is painful, and you hear it in movies because I'm a Nollywood fan. Gosh, I think it just busted a nerve again. Gosh, Yoruba people, our insults used to enter. They in like Nollywood movies, they depict it. Sometimes they say, "Oh, this girl has a spiritual problem. She has a spiritual husband," and you'll be trying to think which one is my own. What's wrong with me? Da, 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 da. But honestly, I think relationships, a lot of it is luck. Number one, right place, right time, and if you want to spiritualize it, you can call it grace. Because I used to think, oh, is it my character or whatever. That was another reason I used to think am I not in relationship. And then one day I was just like, oh, more people with the worst characters than me are in loving, thriving relationships and being loved through their flaws and being challenged to be better. So sometimes it's not all these things. Sometimes it's just luck and also timing and God's will for your life. Um, because people will give you all this advice about, oh, you need to be perfectly whole. And that was another thing. Is it because I am not healed enough? Da, 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 da. And I'm not saying these things don't contribute, but ultimately, when I did let go and I stopped caring, and then it happened for me, I realized it was just timing and also luck. Just right place, right time, right person, right moments. Yeah, yeah. It wasn't all the 51 steps to relationship that I was being groomed to believe it was. It wasn't spiritual problems. It wasn't anything like that. It was just timing. Um, I always end up somehow preaching. But yeah, peak singleness. Yeah, it was a lot. Like I said, I was dating. It just wasn't going to anywhere serious at the time, to the point where it led me to believe, when you've had opportunities at something and it's not working out, it's kind of like if you keep going for the same job interview and they're not picking you, you might think, oh, maybe I'm not actually the right candidate for this thing. So that's where my mind was at the time. But thank the Lord for turnaround. Yes. So oh, it was in Waltham Forest. Oh, fair enough. That's like east, isn't it? I'm not sure about that one, but yeah, I hear you go. Um, but yeah, going back to the whole when I was single, I used to what you call it dread Valentine's Day. I used to really really dread it because so much comparison happens. Like you compare yourself to people on social media, you compare yourself to your friends and your family who are in like loving, thriving relationship, or even if they're not in a loving, thriving relationship, someone cared about them enough to make them feel special. I was that girl that was like, hoping, maybe somebody would remember me on Valentine's Day, in the same way I might be thinking of them as well, not just a one-way thing. So it used to be a day where another one, thank you, another one, thank you. Of course, I'd be really, really happy for people, but a little bit sad for myself because when will I get to experience this kind of thing? And social media can really, really heighten that. And of course, you see all these jokes already across social media where people are like, February 14th, my phone is not working, or I'm logging out of social media. And honestly, whatever you need to do for your peace and for your sanity that day, please do it if you're single. But also, interestingly enough, I recently did a video about navigating jealousy and, some of the things that you can do in terms of navigating those feelings of inadequacy, not necessarily jealousy. I think also applies in terms of pulling yourself away from the things that may be triggering you. But also, another really good thing to do if you want to grow as a person is learning contentment in whatever um, season you find yourself, because the tides do change and eventually you get to that place and you want others to celebrate you as well. I know something that a lot of people do to kind of get over like social media feelings of insecurity is to unfollow people. And yes, that's a good strategy, but it's like, will you always run away from everything that you're triggered by instead of confronting it? So growing in contentment really helps on like days like that where it can get really like everybody's experiencing something except for you. I used to have an event called, or I still have an event. It's just that we haven't run it in like 3 years. An event called the Love Fest, and it's like a Valentine's brunch. Usually, would have it the weekend. I can hear the sirens coming. Can you hear the sirens? Usually the weekend before Valentine's, we'd gather together. We did like 2 years of it. We ran it for 2 years. Yes, gathered together, and that was kind of birthed out of me understanding that feeling of like waking up on Valentine's Day, and it sounds so sad, but it's the truth. Like waking up on Valentine's Day and feeling like, oh, no one like cares about me in that way, in that romantic sense, and you feel kind of sad or you feel kind of left out. So like I did this brunch thing where we'd kind of gather slightly before Valentine's Day, and then like a really lovely part of it is that we would write notes to one another, or like the attendees would write, I'd guide them through this exercise, write notes to like maybe the person next to them or opposite them or whatever it may be. But the caveat was that the person's not allowed to open that card or their hamper or whatever until Valentine's Day. So that way people got to kind of, through the event, combat those feelings of I feel lonely, I feel like no one loves me, learning self-love, learning contentment. We kind of tackle through those things at the event, in ways that I wish someone had done for me. So I tried to be that kind of big sis. And I used to do it with a guy called Dammy. So he'll be the big bro to the guys that attended. And then also on Valentine's Day would combat that feeling of feeling left feeling left out. Yes, that's the right phrase. Them feeling left out, by them then getting to open that message up from their partner or whoever was opposite them or whatever. It was also a really lovely, wholesome event. And then you'd see people like snapping it on Valentine's Day, like, oh, this is my message, and that was just a really cute. It was just really nice to make someone feel good on Valentine's Day, knowing like how I'd felt on days where I was kind of like old enough to be in a relationship or solid relationships and not having that come to fruition. So Love Fest was that really cute event. I really wanted to do it this year as well, but because this year is a year that I've started doing events again. Like last month Jan, we had the vision board party, which was really lovely. And then what usually follows is the Love Fest brunch for February. But I was like, let me give myself time to really plan this thing properly. So look out for it. So maybe next year, not even, I have to do it next year. From next year, the Love Fest will be back. And it's like an event for not just people in relationships, but people hear love and they think, oh, do I have to have a partner? No, it's for single people especially, but it's for everyone. If you're single in a relationship, situationship, whatever it may be, it's just a nice way of helping others like feel good about themselves. But like I said, the tides turn. I've now experienced 2 Valentine's Day with my husband. One when we were still in were we engaged then? No, we're still in a relationship, and one where we're married. It's two, right? I believe so. So sometimes I look back to those times and it's like literally sometimes it's really literally just timing. Things do really turn around if it's God's will for your life. One little or mini subheading in this kind of conversation I wanted to have is that is Valentine's Day another capitalist holiday? That comes up every year where people are like, oh, it's just like Christmas. It's just a chance for us to spend money. In fact, when we say things like this, where does the money go to? Like, who does it go to? I'm guessing the companies. It's just another capitalist holiday. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think. Is Valentine's Day just another opportunity for companies to milk us of our cash dollar? Let me know in the comments. I hope you guys are enjoying the live so far. Sometimes on these live streams, I wish I could like hear people and like um their kind of responses, which is I guess is prompting me. Maybe it's time to start planning like a physical live show. That would be really nice. Although there's a bit of fear there, but God has not given us a spirit of fear, but a power of love, and a sound mind. In the name of Jesus. Um, Let me know if you would like a live show at some point. I think it's well overdue. Moa, you have really slacked in some areas, but it's okay. We thank God for He's a God of restoration, and He restores the time. But yeah, I think Valentine's Day can definitely be a capitalist holiday if you allow it to be. I think just like Christmas, just like Easter, it's literally just a special day on a calendar, and you can do with it what you want. Like just like Christmas, you can decide if you want to go all out and buy out all the presents in the shop. I believe for Valentine's Day as well, you can decide whether you're single or you're seeing somebody situationship, you're in a partnership, you guys can decide together. You decide by yourself based on your pockets of what you want this day to look like for you. Simple flower, oh, it's not that expensive. Well, I don't know whether it goes up around Valentine's Day because I know like on a normal day in Tesco's you can get flowers for like £5, £10. Unless you want to go big or go home. You know those there's these roses that don't die. I can't remember the name of it. If you know the name of those roses, the ones that kind of last, I know they can go like they're like in the hundreds kind of vibe. But I know like there's little things that you can do to make Valentine's Day special without going beyond your pockets. If you say, okay, you don't get guys flowers, you can get him chocolates or snacks or just little things like that. And it doesn't mean that because it's Valentine's Day you have to go to like a really high. You don't have to go to the Shard. Nando's is still there. I know some people will not want to go there, but Nando's is still there. All these restaurants that make the little moments special are still there. So yes, you can say it's a capitalist holiday. That could be true. But whether you allow yourself to be capitalized upon is really down to you. And of course, there's this phrase as well. Every day is Valentine's Day. Oh, give it a rest. Every day is Valentine's Day. And okay, whilst I understand that, yes, it should every the random day should feel special in your relationship. Um, and I think it's you say every day should be Valentine's. I don't think it's sustainable personally to do something special every day. But I mean, in terms of the little things that add up, yes, they should be there every day. But in terms of the specialness, making your because that's what Valentine's is about. My Valentine. I think there's a tragic story behind Valentine's, isn't there? Let me know if Nigo said Molly's. No, thank you. There's a story behind St. Valentine's and where that kind of came from. Is it tragic? I don't know whether I'm thinking of Titanic or something else, but just my train of thought. So wow. What was I saying? Talking about you can be capitalized upon if you allow yourself to be. Oh yes, what Valentine's Day is meant to be. It's meant to be about celebrating your love with your love. And there's many special ways that can be done. And of course, um, social media is like as much as we want to deny its effects, it's had a huge effect on us and the way we approach things. Not just because we want to take part, but we want to show how well we're taking part. Like for example, concerts now, a lot it's so hard to get tickets for concerts, and I believe part of it is FOMO. Some people don't actually care about these artists. Some people don't actually care about having a good time at that concert. Some people just want to show that they were there and make highlight reels and TikToks to show that they were there, they were amongst. And I think that's a huge thing right now, that's kind of affecting how we approach many things, including Valentine's Day, including Christmas, including there's this show and tell part of things that we can't just kind of enjoy things offline anymore. Because of that pressure to show, you now want to show the best version of this thing that you're doing or this thing that you're partaking in. And I think that that puts immense amount of pressure on people unnecessarily. And we do need to be careful. I think I'm not really someone that can be peer pressured, but even as I'm saying that, I'm laughing because what you may call it, my sisters, they got nose piercings, and now I want to get a nose piercing. Is that peer pressure or sister pressure? But yeah, I'm not really someone that can get peer pressured like through social media. Yes, you want to put your best foot forward, especially when you're like OAB on your personality or media personality or like presenter, influencer, whatever it may be that you do. That's like a part of your work is on the online space, online media. To some degree, you want to present yourself a certain way, but I've never really felt that pressure to do past myself in the name of impressing people online. And I think a lot of people fall into that trap. And maybe I haven't, I just subconsciously have fallen into that trap and not realized. But consciously, nah, not me. So heavy on the lock. Yes, honestly, I'm not sure if the chats are kind of coming in late, but I think you're referring to how like what a lot of like falling in love like relies on a lock, what some people might call grace, time and chance, being in the right place at the right time. Someone said, I don't think people care if it was not for social media. We now have the opportunity to compare our relationship with somebody else, but we now also have Valentine's Day. That's the friends one, isn't it? It's like Friendsmas, which is really nice. I think even away from friends, that there's so many special ways. There's so many ways to make yourself feel special on Valentine's Day, even if you're not in a relationship. I think what I used to do, what I used to do on some of them is I'd go to a spa. I love spas. And I was in uni at the time, so you know when you have student loan, you can kind of blow some cash on these little luxuries. So that was my thing on Valentine's Day. I'd love to go to a spa, get a massage, just make feel really nice and like relax. Of course, you see like couples around, but again, that those things, I mean, they did no, let's not lie, they did phase me a little bit, but I still enjoyed the process of doing something for myself. And I wouldn't be the kind of person that needs to log out of social media. But if you need to, that's not me shaming you or anything. People have different ways of coping with things. Um, but yeah, I kind of always just seen things that other people have that I don't as inspiration rather than, oh my gosh, I hate that you have that and I don't. I've never really been that kind of person. Um, but yeah, Valentine's Day is always an interesting one. I know that sometimes people post things that didn't happen just to fill among. I think yeah, like social media is really, really doing a number on us. Like it's so hard to get things now. With this whole reseller culture, and just it's just FOMO, people not wanting to be left out, which is quite an interesting paradigm. I'm not sure if that's the right word. Um, but yeah, if you guys have had any really nice Valentine's experiences, definitely let me know in the comments, because it's not all doom and gloom. It's not all doom and gloom. I think when I was single, yes, I used to do things for myself. Obviously, now I'm married, and when I was when we were in relationship, we do really, really nice things. I think in lockdown, that was really cute. Um, Trying to find ways to kind of enjoy Valentine's without like breaking the law. And I think that's what I mean that's what I mean when I say is if you allow yourself to be capitalized upon, because there are some really simple, cute things that you can do to commemorate the day without breaking the bank, without you know ruining things, without breaking the law, like in during the COVID lockdown period. Um, that can just be for yourself. Not everything has to be for yourself and your partner. Not everything has to be a show and tell moment. I think that's where we're kind of missing it a bit. But yeah, let me know if you've had any like really nice Valentine's experiences, what you hope for, and all that great stuff. And then we're gonna move on to dating in 2023. And this part, guys, I really, really need you guys to interact with me on this one, because I've heard some things about the streets. Of course, I'm not there anymore. But I would love to kind of find out from you guys what dating in 2023 is like. I mean, 2 years ago or 3 years ago, um, again, I feel like social media has really heightened a lot of things. But like 3 years ago, like what was dating like? Um, so I grew up outside of London. So for me, it wasn't really London wasn't a small place like that for me because I was always on the outside looking in. But I tended to date guys that were living in London or they were Londoners. And I would assume that my experience would be different to those living in London dating Londoners or Londoners dating Londoners. Because one thing I hear is that London is a small place. Whenever people are talking about dating, they always say London is a small place. And it's like you can be with someone who's been with someone who's been with someone who's your friend. And that must be a very interesting place to be. I would say that definitely because of age, I think at that time there wasn't much commitment. I don't know whether that's kind of still a thing in 2023. Let's say 2022. We've just started 2023, so dating like in recent years. Um, yeah, commitment wasn't really a thing, but again, that could be and that could have been down to age, because as I was approaching 25, yes, I was starting to meet guys that were thinking of like settling down, although they didn't kind of worked out with my now husband, but then I could see that as we were getting older, commitment started being a thing. So like that's another thing. Like if you're a bit younger, you're under 25, and you're noticing that guys aren't really that serious, that's normal. Or I think it's also due to like socialization, the way we're socialization. I think women are more groomed towards wanting to settle down and wanting to be in a long-term relationship, whereas men are more groomed to doing their thing until they're ready to then settle down later on in their 30s or whatever it may be. Whereas women from like their 20s, they would like to kind of catch their fish. You say there's plenty of fish in the sea, but it's like, no, I want that fish. So women are very like programmed and socialized very early on to desire settling down, locking it down, relationship, even if they don't get married straight away, but having their person. Whereas men, they're more socialized to, spread their seeds until they find the one, quote on. Um, it's very normal to have those disparities in like wanting to settle down whilst they're still younger. But as I say, as I got older, I noticed that guys were kind of changing their tune. But yeah, I have heard that it's a thing where very murky waters, where like you could know who's dating, you could know someone's ex, or someone's ex is who you're now dating, and you know that person. So it's like it's all just a bit too close. Now going across the borders to like Lagos, I've watched a few like podcasts, and you guys know that I love everything about Nigeria. Well, minus all the terrible things that's going on in infrastructure wise. Like, Nigerians, I'm so sorry. What you're going through right now is a lot. I don't know whether I have any viewers that are like living in Nigeria. Just a slight segue. There's like no cash. Apparently, I'm not sure if I understand that in its fullness, but like they changed the notes, the Naira notes, and then they gave a deadline as to when the old notes could be used. So now the new notes can't be no, the old notes can't be used, but then also the cash machines are not dispensing the new notes. So people are really, really stuck. Nigeria is a lot. Just gonna grab some water. Yeah. So people aren't able to access their money. I've been seeing this whole thing about Zenith Bank, or banks in general, people's money just disappearing. I think banks, slowly starting to understand how banks work. Because you could have an amount in your account, but the bank itself needs to have the cash, and the bank banks on, see what I did there? The bank banks on not every single person that banks with them taking out all of their money at the same time. So I really didn't understand banks before. I thought it was a thing where everybody has their own booty of money, but actually banks have a limited amount of money and they bank on the fact that not everybody's going to take out their money at the same time. So Nigerians are going through that right now, with the whole notes thing, and also there's fuel scarcity, and of course elections are coming up. So I feel for you guys. If you are, watching from Nigeria, like honestly, like I always say that I wish Nigeria worked. Like I love that place so much. Even when I was 10, moving to England, I was so sad. I was so sad. Like Nigeria is just vibes. Like from what I remember anyway, I was only 10 years old. But the little that I remember of Nigeria was such a lovely experience. And I was comparing at the time that I was leaving Nigeria, I was comparing that experience of Nigeria with the holiday that I had in England a year before or a year prior when we, cameras come back. Okay. Are you all right? I'm all right. A year prior to when we left Nigeria, we came on holiday to England and I hated it. Hated the cold. I hated the size of the houses. I just really looked down on England like, what is this? So yeah, I was comparing it to that at the time, and I still well, my little knowledge of Nigeria, because experiencing Nigeria as a child versus an adult is very different. But yeah, definitely miss home. Wish it worked. I would love to. I feel like I say this on all my lives. I would love to go back home and like work there in the media space as a presenter. I feel like there were so many like lovely opportunities, and of course, being around people like you can feel so like soothing and calming. So I always say like I wish Nigeria worked. And of course, there's people that still go back. Like let's not like limit ourselves based on the things that we're seeing. There's people that still go back to Nigeria and still have a great time and they're still safe and da 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 da. But we cannot deny that some of the things that have happened, some of the things that we see on the news are what's the word? Discouraging people from going back home, from building careers back home. Even people like me that really would love to build a career back home, stopping us from going and making us think twice. Anyone that wants to go to Nigeria, they're thinking, I wish Nigeria worked, but that was such a like segue. But I wanted to kind of touch on the little that I've heard on like podcasts about like dating in Nigeria, specifically dating in Lagos. Apparently, the streets. Oh, what's that? Ojuti, dirty, Kosigbo. Apparently, like the streets in Lagos, if you think London is a thing, it's treacherous. Like it is treacherous. Apparently, the level of cheating, forget the single people, the level of and the amount of cheating that's going on in the streets of Lagos is immense. I don't know whether there's anybody in the live that's watching from Nigeria and can kind of vouch, or I think we had someone on a bridge from Abuja last time, not necessarily Lagos, but yeah, apparently the streets get really like treacherous in the dunya. But yeah, guys, let me know. No one's said anything yet about what dating is like in 2023 or in recent years. I don't know if anyone's like in church settings, because that's always a different ball game and a different experience. Um, in terms of like dating, that can be an interesting one depending on the kind of church that you go to. Matchmaking can be going on, like pressure to get married when you're not quite ready can be going on, in the say in the name of keeping things pure, which can lead people down path that they're not quite ready for. But those are the little that I know about dating in 2023. But you guys let me know what dating is like for you in 2023. We are coming slowly to the end of the live stream, but I just wanted to hear from you guys. I wish I could like play music in these like interval moments. Do 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 do, like elevator music. Do 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 do. But whilst I wait as well, In terms of things to do on Valentine's, if you're someone that's single, um, and you guys know I'm a Nollywood fan, there's quite a few. Well, I've seen two that seem interesting. There's two things that will be launching on Valentine's Day. The first one is called a Sunday Affair. I think it's called a Sunday Affair. Let me just double check. It's on Netflix. Let's have a look. It's Sunday. Yeah, it's called the Sunday Affair, and it's with who's this gorgeous Nollywood actress, Dakore Fabusen. Is it? I'm not saying that right. Oh, Fabusen, Egbunsen. I'm not sure where that's from. Yeah, she's a Nollywood actress. I recognize a lot of the OGs, but I don't know their names because I used to watch them when I was a child. But I know their faces, except for maybe like RMD and Almost Sexy. Of course, you know those ones because they were very very popular at the time. But I tend to know most of their faces. So there's that one that's launching on Valentine's Day, and there's also on Red TV. There's a series called When Are We Getting Married? I know Nigerians, they love a love story. Oh my gosh. They love a love story on all these channels. And speaking of series as well, we used to have I keep saying we used to, no, we have. It's just that we took a slight break because of the pandemic and many other things happening. But we have a series called Love Quiz. So humble plug. And that's a couples game show that usually launches around Valentine's season. So again, this was one that was like I would have really, really loved to release a season two of that this year, but I had to be honest with myself about like timing and constraints and not being able to like get things out in time and overstressing myself in the process in the name of releasing things. I didn't want to overstress myself. But Love Quiz is a couples game show. And you can still go and watch last season if you haven't already. We had, I believe, 9 couples, and we were meant to have the two the runner up and the two top couples battle it out at a live show. But that kind of fell through in during the pandemic. But that would have been really, really nice. But yeah, that's another series that if you're at home, you love to watch movies, you love to stream, you love Nollywood. So Love Quiz is not necessarily Nollywood, but that's one of MCTV's series that you guys would really enjoy. It's a game show. You can literally binge watch it. You can go on my personal channel, literally just search hashtag MCTV Love Quiz and you'll find it. And of course, I said a Sunday Affair that's launching on Netflix on Valentine's Day. And then When Are We Getting Married on Red TV? I'm really plugging you guys of things to watch. AO, hello, how you doing? Did you know that Timini is the Corey's younger brother? I think I've heard that before. And that's really nice when you have like siblings in some of these settings or in like similar industries like another one or duo that I think of is Tenny and her sister. What's the name of her sister? Niniola. Nini's been like in the kind of house version of Afrobeats for a long time. Before like Amapiano came and lots of Nigerians started jumping on that kind of. I'm not saying Amapiano is house music; it's not exactly the same thing, but Nini had that vibe for a long time before Amapiano became popular, and then Nigerians started to jump on that kind of sound. Um, but I always wondered like why they've never like collaborated before. I think that would have been really nice to see the sisters doing something together, but they kind of stay in separate lanes, which is really interesting. But have you guys even seen Tenny's weight loss? I wonder what happened because wow, I was like, this is very shocking. I didn't even know it just came out of nowhere. You know, normally you would see somebody like losing weight gradually, but hers just kind of. I was like, wow, that is really fantastic. But it seems like you guys are feeling shy. You don't want to talk about what dating is like in 2023. I've kind of described some of the things that I've kind of learned about the streets of Lelele and of London. But I'm going to sign out in about 10 minutes. But you guys, let me know if you do want to quickly add to the chat in regards to what dating in 2023 or the last kind of 2 years has been like for yourself or just people around you, whatever you're seeing kind of going on. We're definitely at that age, I think, where, well, depending on your friendship group, but I'm at that age where like my friends and family are like getting married. Last year, especially around the time when I got married, I think two of my friends got married as well. And you definitely saw a lot of people in our age group get married, and that's kind of continued, which is really, really cute. I would say all of like favorite influencers are like little by little just going off the market, which is quite nice. Marriage is a huge commitment. Um, and the decision to go into marriage should not be taken lightly because it's responsibility as much as it's fun. They always say that every blessing is a responsibility, um, which is really, really, is it somber or sobering? It's whatever, the word that makes you think. When you think about something, you deep it. Everything that's fun has a side to it that's responsibility, and you have to be like, I think you mature in marriage. I wouldn't say you necessarily have to be mature. No, I don't want to be that girl. I've only been married for a year and a little bit. No, I don't want to be that girl trying to give advice. But yeah, just from the little I've learned, I think you don't necessarily have to be completely whole, completely healed, completely mature. It's not a decision to be taken lightly. It comes with a level of responsibility. So there has to be a level of maturity. But I do believe that there is grace to mature and to grow and learn in marriage as well. Um, yeah, so it's not as scary as some people may make it seem, but it is responsibility. 2022, I saw quite a few of myself included, get married. Yeah, it was, I think, a nice time, especially with people capitalizing on the COVID rules. I think that was a nice time to save money because, whew, weddings are expensive, y'all. Like, and it's usually your family that want to call the entire world. Don't fake people see to your wedding. But sometimes 9 times out of 10 they will not even, I don't know about people's experiences, but I've heard of people making demands but not being able to, like, put money there, if that makes sense. But I think in our case, we have understanding parents that once we outlined the cost of things to them, they were like, okay, we get it. But I have heard of people, I think, especially around the time that I released, sorry, grab some water. Especially around the time I released the series, Journey to Forever, I had some people DMing me that, oh, my mom is being difficult or my dad's being difficult. Even though I've explained it. So there's people that are in situations like that where this, in spite of, they've brought out a calculator, they've showed you the cost of things, you're still demanding things. But COVID was a nice period to get married, in terms of having a small wedding, an intimate wedding, a micro wedding, without the guilt. Because I think that's the thing. A lot of the time, it's the pressure of family, friends, trying to please everybody that's caused people to have these massive weddings that they're still paying off 5 years on, and it's not smart. It's just not smart because a lot of these people will not be there when debt collectors are banging on your door, to pay this and pay that and repay the loan that you took out to it. So the word for the wise is enough. And I think micro weddings and intimate weddings have continued post pandemic, which is really, really nice. I think the pandemic was a really tragic time for many, many, many reasons. But I think it was also a time that we got to reflect on some of the things that we do, or some of the things that we call or we see as the norm. That's the English. That we see as the norm. Massive weddings when we can't afford it. Going to the office 5 days a week, even though there's not really a real need for you to be there with your colleagues all the time. Church, going physically every Sunday, although that's still very controversial. People say don't forsake the gathering of the saints. But honestly, the hybrid life and like scaling back on things, I've personally loved the aspects of like the pandemic causing us to reevaluate some of the things that we do. Like, is this some of these things, are they really necessary? So micro weddings, I think, are definitely here to say intimate to stay. I need to learn to complete my sentences sometimes. I think sometimes when your thoughts are really like just all over the place or running, you want to bring out the next thing. Um, Micro weddings here to stay. Intimate weddings here to stay. um yeah, it's not, I don't think it's worth starting your life in debt or starting your lives together as a couple in debt because you wanted to impress some people. And I think as well, where pre-pandemic it might have been a thing where you have to really explain yourself or you feel like you have to please people, I think friends and family have become more understanding even post-pandemic of when you want to have an intimate small wedding. But yeah, guys, Mutisoro, I've spoken a lot. So I'm gonna bring this live to a close. Um, and I really, really hope you guys have enjoyed. I've enjoyed tonight. I know this was really like, intimate, but I do love having these conversations with you guys. What's everyone's plans for the weekend? I'm definitely going to relax. I'm going to relax. I might have one or two things to kind of shoot over the weekend, but my priority is rest. Like, I'm a big fan of rest and encouraging others to rest as well because we work so hard, man. We should rest as hard as we work. But thank you guys so much for joining me on today's live. I really hope, I'm looking at the chat. I really, really hope you guys have had a wonderful time. Do make sure you like this live if you liked it, share it with your friends, comment below on the things we spoke about, and subscribe to this channel for more. Until next time, guys, peace and love. Peace and chunks. See you later, guys. I just wait for people to say their goodbyes if they're going to before I kind of end the live. Slow down. I just want to get to know you. But don't turn around. You aren't too scared to me, baby. Slow down. Nobody wants to say bye to me. Wow, that's not very nice. Bye, they go. We live in the same house. Nobody else except for my husband. Well, wow, wow, wow. Wow, 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 thoughts. See you later. See you later, guys. Good night. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you guys so much for joining today. Until next time, peace and love. Peace and chance.